brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lekter. Mornings at the Cabin.
What a wonderful way to start the morning. A little Vivaldi, a little Randy the Raven. And what is special about today? Today seems to be some sort of historic moment in the history of this country in which we finally stop villainizing a substance, not a substance, I guess, but a medicine. And it is finally legal. So there we go. Happy Legalization Day, everybody. You can now go out and find out what all the fuss is about. I know I plan to, because I have never done it before. So I'm going to go out there and just give it a shot. I'm hoping it's not going to scramble my brain as the government has been telling us for years and years that it would. And now, hey, it's all good. It's all good now. I'm actually really excited. I'm actually really excited about this because it's going to allow people to have access to these to cannabis that didn't have it before, and for medicinal purposes, or just even not like strict medicinal purposes, just for people who need a little help with anxiety or depression or something like this. It's going to open up a lot of doors, I think, for people who may have been terrified to try it, and for people who have been terrified to try it because of the inequality in how they get punished. Yes. Anyway, we'll talk about that throughout the morning. I got some pretty appropriate songs coming up for the occasion. Lekter's going to be joining me here in a few minutes. We've got some Brrrlesque people coming in today, and I've got Kim McNeary coming in at 8:30 to talk about Legalization Day. She's an incredibly strong advocate here in the city for cannabis and for medicinal uses, but also for recreational uses. She's been advocating for a very long time, and finally she's got her wish.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Hell in a handbasket, I say. Hell in a handbasket. That's where it's all going. Everything's changed. It's Legalization Day, and now reefer madness ensues. Women will become brazen hussies. Men will become something else entirely. Werewolves, perhaps. This is what I've come to understand from government messaging for my entire life.
Why can't men be brazen hussies?
Well, they can.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying women can't be werewolves.
Okay, perfect. I just want us to all be equal.
Absolutely.
Here.
I want us all to have the chance to become werewolves, or whatever happens when you smoke really strong cannabis.
It's crazy out there.
It's crazy out there.
Things
Can you
are
see
going
what's going
nuts
on in the street right now?
Oh, my God.
There are people, well, not right now, but later.
Yeah.
I imagine they're going to be walking around just in a stupor.
People are still waking up, but the chaos is about to ensue.
Are they going to bake and wake, or is it the other way around? I can't remember what it is.
Oh, my God.
I'm very square.
The economy is just going to collapse.
It's going to collapse. We're going to collapse like a dying star.
Randy the Raven made a mess out there. I don't know what he got into.
He got into the munchies last night, and he just painted the entire sidewalk.
Pace yourselves, people.
For goodness sake, we've got a long way to go. Just past midnight in Newfoundland at a shop. I think it's called Tweed. Or Tweeds,
right,
which is clever. Shoppers Ian Power and Nikki Rose lined up to become two of the very first Canadians to buy cannabis legally in Canada. So there's it's on the national. It was on the national last night, and there's a video of them just surrounded by cameras, picking up weed and picking up buying the first legal cannabis in Canada. And so they went to pay for it. Insufficient funds. Isn't that typical? That is typical. Bunch of potheads. No, I'm joking.
Can you spot me a couple?
Can you spot me a couple
grams?
So I mean, this is pretty. I mean, this is a momentous day. I mean, for people who have just not really cared about the law and just kind of flaunted it to whatever,
or otherwise been super passionate about it, just haven't agreed with it.
Exactly. This is a momentous day. And I mentioned earlier when I started that it's not just for people who have, been doing it in secret or have been strong advocates and have been out there with it, and how this is a good day for them. It's a good day for people who have maybe wanted to try it, but have, been kind of, there are inequities in how we punish certain people for drug offenses. And those will no longer be a thing.
Now we all get punished harsher.
Yeah,
but
I know,
equally.
Right? So outside of what you're legally allowed to have, those punishments have actually gotten a bit stricter.
Yeah.
So if you go over 30 grams, you're going to see some. I think it's like a $5,000 fine or something like that. Yeah. I should probably look it up, but I don't plan on carrying over an ounce with
Kim
me.
McNearney's coming in.
Yeah,
She'll fill us in.
She will, and she's going to come in at 8:30. And she, like I said, has been a passionate advocate for cannabis legalization for a very, very long time. Helped organize some of the 420 marches that were here in Yellowknife. That kind of petered out, but I mean, because everybody kind of
now there's no point.
There's no point
right?
having one.
There's no need for a 420
I think we just get out there on the street and just start like blowing
dancing or something. I don't know.
Dancing, yes. Dancing, very, very.
If you have questions, by the way, for Kim that you want us to ask
absolutely.
her, yeah, send us an email, Facebook message, Scott at cabinradio.ca, Jesse at cabinradio.ca.
Please
do.
And
we'll throw her pot questions at her.
One of the things I want to know that I haven't been able to figure out yet is I put up a post yesterday, just, kind of a joking post. They're like, one cannabis, please, which will get you hooked, Scott. Don't fool yourself.
Gateway drug.
One toke, and you're right, life is ruined.
Yeah. Now you're playing all these songs about cocaine.
What?
It's like, jeez.
It's well, I mean,
spiraling out of control.
But Ray Lee Foster DeBay asked, "Is the store even open today?" They had heard that they weren't ready and they weren't going to be opening today.
Oh, really?
So I guess we'll find out. I know we want to get down there later on. Maybe around 11, we'll be able to get down there and
as long as they're ready by 11. If they're not ready right now,
they got
kind
of a loose open.
Figure it out.
Like you guys open at 10. Thereabouts.
It's a soft launch.
Yes, soft launch.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast, where we delete all the bad bits and make them sound at least semi-coherent.
I don't know what the government was thinking.
No,
I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. So the online store is open. We were checking it out. And so you can find a story that Ollie posted this morning, which is just fantastic. So it's basically just talking about the opening of the store, the online store. Not sure if the physical store is open. We still haven't heard yet if it is. But Yellowknifers wake up, smoke joint, wonder what fuss is about. You check out that story on our Facebook page or at cabinradio.ca. A quote from an early customer: "There were only 2 strains available, and they were both top-end-ish. That'll destroy a rookie." So careful out there, Rook. If you're smoking for the first time, that's the thing, though, okay? If you're smoking for the first time, do a little bit of research and don't go for that top-end stuff because you will just, you might green out, man. And that is a real thing. Greening out is a real thing. Not that I've ever done it before, but one time I did have an edible brownie and it didn't kick in. So I was like, I guess it wasn't really well made.
Right.
And then we partook in some other things, and I was sitting there on a couch, just kind of lost in my own space. I looked across at my buddy, and he was white because he did the same thing. And he looked at me. He's like, "You're white," and we both kind of greened out. You can green out. Like it's not to say that you can't overdose on it like heroin.
Right.
But I mean, you can smoke too much and get ill.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I think we've talked once or twice about when you start to see when it was getting closer to legalization, even before the Trudeau government came in and
the Trudeau government, you mean? Sorry.
Oh wait, I guess this isn't a Harper government thing. I guess I should just call him the new government.
Yeah,
Justin Trudeau as prime minister.
Yeah, it's been 3 years.
Okay. Anyway, so once they came in and decided that they were going to put that legislation into practice and start taking steps towards legalization, you started to see a lot of interesting rhetoric, pro-cannabis rhetoric.
Oh, yeah.
That I personally thought was as damaging to the cause as the anti.
Do you mean like smoking cannabis cures cancer, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, exactly. Just ludicrous stuff like that has no basis in science, and it's like, okay, I get that you're an advocate.
Yeah,
but come on.
There are some. Here's the other thing about legalization is that now we can. Not that there haven't been studies in the past, but now we can actually get into some real in-depth studies about what medicinal purposes that cannabis can have. Cannabis oil, we know, does have some very strong properties. I've seen studies or reports about how it can help people with Parkinson's, how it can help people with cerebral palsy,
right?
Things like that.
Yeah.
So we know that cannabis oil does have some medicinal properties. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not all the claims that are being made on Facebook are real. Again, Kim McNearney is going to come in and she is going to school us all at around 8:30, and we'll have her on for I think we'll have her on for quite a bit.
Yeah.
I want to know everything.
That's something I'll be very interested to chat to Kim about. How she's found that rhetoric surrounding it, how that's changed.
We do have cannabinoid receptors in our body, though.
We do.
Why are they there, Scott, if we're not meant to just take as much as we can? www.ntlcc-cannabis.ca is the Liquor and Cannabis Commission page. That is where you can order online. There are 5 strains available on the website right now. We got Rockstar, White Widow, Alien Dog, Mango, and Headband. All of them are pretty strong.
Yeah.
Like that person was not telling fibs. The lowest THC percentage of any of them is right now is 12.9, which is average.
Yeah.
And then, but things like Headband are like 24 and a half, which is
that's pretty strong.
Yeah. I mean, if it's an indica, it's going to put you in the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also in the story that we have up on cabinradio.ca, Ollie's got a link in there to basically all the regulations you need to know around legalized cannabis.
Yes.
In case you've been kind of waiting all this time, like, oh, it's legal, I should probably know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 grams is personal use. You can carry that on your person. You can put that in a backpack and go on a flight. I don't know if that's true, but you could definitely bring it with you.
Maybe not in your carry-on.
No, in your carry-on.
In your carry-on?
Start tossing it around the cabin of the airplane. Everybody have some. One of the things I am interested in seeing is that if the stigma melts away right away, or if it's still going to be kind of a slow process for people to be like, oh, you smoke cannabis? I would never touch that stuff while they're swirling a snifter of brandy or something.
Yeah.
Or even having a bottle of wine. I mean, those things are far more harmful.
I would assume that's going to take some time. I mean, there are, like we talked about.
We've been indoctrinated for a very long time.
Yeah. And like we talked about earlier, there are some people that, maybe all that held them back was the fact that it was illegal and they didn't want to potentially get in trouble for something really silly.
There are people out there who actually follow the law to the letter. They are not fun at parties, but they now have a chance to try something that maybe they were interested in trying.
And so that there's obviously going to be still a stigma because the majority of people who have been anti-cannabis up until this time aren't suddenly flicking a switch and being like, you know what, it's legal now, so it's probably a great idea.
I wonder if there are some people out there that will flip that switch though, because like, well, the government says it's okay. I trust my government, so and then they just kind of go all pro on it. I mean. It's just like
well, you got to trust the government, Jesse.
Just like well, you do, otherwise, what are you going to do? It's just like anything else, though. I mean, tobacco is legal, and obviously there's not. I mean, there's a stigma around tobacco, obviously, but not as much, I would think. But it's mostly the smell that people have a stigma about, and I mean that's perfectly legal. And I mean, I don't like tobacco smoke much at all. Like I don't really. I want to stand around it.
And the dangers surrounding tobacco are pretty obvious.
Absolutely.
But pretty well known.
Much higher addictive rate.
Mostly because it's been legal and there's been no issue studying it all these years.
But, I mean, far more addictive than cannabis is tobacco and nicotine. But, I mean, I don't think... Okay, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we should have a smell test. But if you go outside, especially in the cold, and smoke, and you come back in, you reek. It reeks. And with cannabis, I know there's a smell of cannabis, but I feel like there's not as much like maybe tar smell or whatever with cannabis. I feel like it's less.
I don't know. My grade 12 consumer math class would argue with that.
You're listening to the best of Mornings at the Cabin. Yeah, it's a short show.
Mornings at the Cabin, Wheeler and Lekter with you on your Wednesday morning, and we've got a couple of special guests in the studio right now that have already partaken in Legalization Day. Well done. What
is with this Legalization Day?
What's going on?
What's all this fuss about?
What is this fuss? Sitting here with Camilla McEachran and Jessica Quantic Davies.
Davy Quantic.
Davy Quantic. My bad. I always call you QD.
JQD.
JQD. That's my bad. I've obviously taken part in Legalization Day already. Welcome. Pardon me. Welcome to the show. Here to talk about a little bit about Brrrlesque. What's going on? Tell us everything.
Well,
go.
We have committed to doing another show.
Good. So you've committed to doing one of the most popular events
back. Yes, we
in
did.
Yellowknife history.
We took a year to regroup.
Yes,
and are excited to announce. Well, we have announced already, but we will be doing another show in February. Our dates are February 13th to 16th. It will be our 8th show. And we are doing auditions, actually our first round of auditions this weekend. And we have also extended into a third audition day.
Yes.
So there's still time. And we're hoping that by this interview this morning, we could maybe entice some more people to some new faces to sign up for auditions.
So you've got some sort of agenda you're pushing this morning.
Well, I think I've always got a bit of an agenda.
It's true. Okay, so October 20th and 21st, so this weekend and November 3rd
Yes.
are the audition dates, and you can find out, you can email Brrrlesque with 3 R's at gmail.com for an audition slot. Is that right?
Yeah, all of our information is on our website, so burlesque3rs.ca.
Yes.
And we do have sign-up sheets, and all of the information is there.
So there's a different kind of show this year. There's a theme this year.
There's a theme.
And what is the theme?
The theme is 1970s.
Oh,
So
very nice.
we are, we're looking for acts comprised of songs and themes from 1970 to 1979.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Was there a reason that there's a theme? There hasn't really been a theme in the past.
No,
right?
there's never been a theme. We wanted to do something different. I mean, this will be our 8th show.
Yes.
So, we just felt that it was a very diverse era. There is, it's not all disco. It was actually, a very small portion of the era was disco, but there's a lot of great music, the fashion,
There's going to be a lot of LeMay.
Yeah.
In fact, if you come in with a disco act, disqualified, right?
Really?
Well,
No,
maybe
not
we
the
should
case.
have you. Maybe we should have you on the panel, the auditions judging panel.
I know
we should do that.
nothing
We
about
could do that.
burlesque, but
Absolutely.
I'd be honored.
We could do that.
Well, we'll put that aside.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I
Fine.
have not participated in legalization yet, so
I have not either. So
For those who have never done a burlesque audition and are, maybe been thinking about it for a few years, what do you expect them to come in with? Do you expect them to come in kind of already with an idea for an act, or is it basically come in, meet us, show us some of your personality, and we'll develop something together? Do you expect the act to be like pretty much complete?
we're asking for 60% complete. So
Okay.
I mean, we've been learning over the last 8 years, learning as we go, and I mean, first and foremost, it is, while we do choose the theme and we do have specific guidelines, it's up to the performer to come up with their own act. So we don't dictate anything. Of course, we do give feedback, but we do ask that there is a really good concept. I mean, you don't have to have your costumes ready to go, and you don't have to be ready to perform next week, sort of
Right.
deal.
Yeah.
We definitely want to give some room, and I know most of the performers do for group feedback. It's while it is individual performers, it is very much so a collaborative approach.
And like, just because you audition, it doesn't mean you're like locked in. This is what you're doing. So when I auditioned, I think I just like frantically flailed for 3 minutes and ran away. And like, it wasn't,
You're in.
it wasn't like what I ended up performing, because we got to rehearsals and it's like, okay, here's your foundation that you auditioned. You've got the idea. You've got kind of the basic what you want to do. You're clearly into this because you're here. And you can. The rest of the cast is amazing. They can really help develop and teach you if you don't know what you're doing.
It is very much a team
Yeah.
environment, isn't it?
Yeah, and very much so about, like you said, you go in, you set the foundation, but it's such an evolution. Not only the act, but of course just seeing the evolution of the performers from when they first, start to what they end up becoming.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the reasons it's so popular. I mean, obviously it's such a great show, but I mean, for the performers, Jessica, you can talk to this. Is that like what is it like, kind of going through the entire process? I mean, it just sounds like a ton of fun.
It is honestly the most fun. It sounds so like Dr. Phil special after school special thing, but it is really life changing. So you show up and you're like, I think people think everyone, because they see the end results,
Yeah.
they see people being so super confident, and they see this amazing glittery wonderfulness. And they don't realize that so much of it, like, you come in and you're terrified and you don't know what you're doing. And like, I dance with my eyes closed. That is a running joke. People have to scream at me, like, you need to open your eyes and look at people. And you don't, because it is very, I think a lot of people, particularly people who haven't tried it, who've expressed to me up until now that they'd love to give it a whirl, but they're like, oh, I can't, I'm too scared. Yeah, we all are. So the experience is really amazing. You show up, and I auditioned having just moved here, having not seen the show, and I didn't know anybody. And so I made all my friends. And you show up in a room with people who are aggressively telling you you're wonderful every week until you kind of start to believe it against your will.
Okay.
And that's really great.
That's very great. I mean, that's what we've always heard, is that there's such a strong support system around the performers, and like exactly what you're talking about, being terrified. Like, I've been on stage before, and that doesn't go away. I've been on stage, hundreds of times, and it doesn't go away. There's always nerves. There's always a bit of what if. But having a strong support system there just makes for a better show and makes for a better cast.
And that's how you know you care about it, right? When you get nervous before it.
Absolutely.
That's how you know it means something to you.
And you're kind of developing this character. Like, I know for a lot of people, it's an extension of who they are. I know it's kind of how you perform. It's like you, but bigger. And for other people, it's a completely different person that you kind of get to embody when you're on stage. So Jessica in life is super anxious all the time and kind of shivery and all that kind of stuff. But on stage, Oxford Come On is completely different. And that's really fun. If you're normally, it's the opposite of who you are in the day. So
That's your character name, Oxford Come On?
Yes. I like grammar.
Love that.
There's always room for an Oxford comma.
So, yeah, absolutely there is. Camilla, so we've got 3 audition dates. How many people you got coming out so far?
Oh goodness, I know that we do have a good lot. I don't know the number off the top of my head.
Well, I was looking
Still
for an
working on my
exact number.
first coffee. I told you no hard hitting questions.
That's not a hard question. How many people? Camilla. But we're always looking for more talent. I mean, I'll kind of make it akin to something like Tarmogen Theatrics, who are always kind of looking to bring in new people that have just come to town. Like Jessica, you said you came to town and auditioned for it, and you didn't know anybody. So I mean, if anybody out there is looking for something to do, this is a wonderful show, and you can get in on the 20th, 21st, or the 3rd.
And if you haven't seen a burlesque show and you're like, I don't know what this is, just to plug something else, Brrrlesque is coming up at the end of the month on the 27th, and you can still get tickets for the 26th. It's a Halloween burlesque show. It's going to be at Top Night, and it is a lot of the same people who will be auditioning for Brrrlesque. So if you're like, this sounds fun, but I don't know, you can come and see it and see what it's all about.
Yeah. I'm going on the Friday for that one. And
Saturday for me.
Saturday for you?
Yeah.
All right. So the dates for the 2019 Burlesque show are the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's a great Valentine's Day present. That's an awesome Valentine's Day present. I mean, tickets obviously haven't gone on sale yet. Any idea when they're going to go on sale? I mean, probably.
Again, hard-hitting
Oh,
question.
sorry.
Okay. It's best to keep. We do have a Facebook.
I mean,
page.
we're pretty far out. We're a few
Yes.
months out, which is great. It gives people a chance to really hone their performances.
Absolutely. I'm hoping that maybe we will have tickets out. Don't hold me to this. Maybe before Christmas. Certainly by the beginning of January.
People need to know when that annual 5-minute window is.
Yeah, no doubt.
We will let Cabin Radio know. You will be the first to know.
Perfect.
You can write that down.
And
That is one of the weirdest parts of it, like watching people like have multiple screens up, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Why do you want to see my boobs so badly? Like, it's a little overwhelming, but really great.
But it's not the whole boob.
No, a tiny version of the boob.
Yes. No.
All right. Well, tickets going on sale before Christmas. That would be wonderful. That would be a great stocking stuffer. Also a burlesque show. So a 70s theme. Mm-hmm. You're hoping for. Are you hoping for more rock or more disco? What are you kind of leaning towards?
I mean, I think there's got to be a little disco.
I mean, I want to
Yeah.
see some wide lapels and a lot of chest hair if we can.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. I have not seen the numbers yet, but I can only imagine.
Yeah. Platform shoes.
Yeah.
Bell bottoms.
Hopefully with
Sequins.
live fish in the soles.
Oh man.
That's cruelty. I guess. That's
Yeah,
animal
that's
cruelty.
that's not great. It's not great. They
I
look cool.
apologize.
It's not great though.
Don't do that.
No.
No, we also have a no liquid stage policy, so that's not.
Oh,
good.
okay.
No fish. No
All
fish in
right.
booth.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. No
All the
fish in the
glitter.
shoes.
Ignore my suggestion entirely.
Yeah, we will. What we will lack in fish, we will make up in glitter.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the thing. There's glitter for weeks after
Swimming
burlesque
in
on
glitter.
everybody. You don't even have to go to the show, and you're just like, there's just glitter on me. For
Yeah.
burlesque.
You've got to commit to it. Like, once it's in your life, you glitter forever. I'm probably going to lose my damage deposit because there's glitter in my apartment that will never leave.
Yeah. There's glitter in my body, I think, at this point. So thank you so much for coming in. We'll definitely have you back on closer to the show. But please let us know how auditions go.
Thank you very much. And yeah, again, all information available on our website.
That's right.
B3Rs Burlesque cabinradio.ca.
Cabin Radio's morning show podcast. All the best chat, none of the embarrassing mistakes.
Mornings at the Cabin with Wheeler and Lekter, joined by a very special guest on a very special day, local cannabis advocate, a cannabis warrior,
Thank you.
Kim McNerney. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Is this your first time on the show?
This is my first time on
Well,
Cabin.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Welcome
for being
to
here.
the cabin.
Yes.
Thank you. It is marvelous to be here.
Wonderful. It's wonderful to have you. It's obviously a very big day for you. You've been a big advocate for cannabis legalization for a long time. And how are you feeling today?
I'm in a state of amazement.
Yeah.
I'm still hard to believe it's here and it's happening, and I'm so excited. I can't even explain it.
Surely you expected it to be pushed back like 3 more times.
Oh, we
before
just,
now.
it's just, oh, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And
Yeah.
and here it is, and it's here. I woke up this morning to just messages from handfuls of people being like, this day must be so awesome for you. Thank you for all you've done. And, it was an amazing way to start the day.
And advocacy is not, especially for cannabis, it's not about just like wanting people to get high. It's about getting people in the know about something that can be very beneficial and something that is not as scary as we've been kind of led to believe. We're talking about 90 years of prohibition, 90 years of sometimes gross miseducation and gross propaganda. How do you think the first few months of this is going to go?
I think, the first few months, people are still just kind of in amazement, and I think, but I think it's still going to be a little slow.
Yeah,
the stigma is still going to be there. I think we will see a large rush of the younger people, the just of age kind of to be able to.
Right.
We're going to see that movement very quickly. But I think within the older generations where the stigma is still, where that reefer madness education might still hold on, we'll see that come a little slower.
Yeah.
But I expect it to be a pretty big thing. I mean, this is huge.
Yeah, and it's not just about access to recreational or even medicinal. It's also about being able to study these things and find out exactly what benefits that the medicinal benefits that cannabis does have, cannabis oil, things like this. But also for any other studies to debunk some of this propaganda that we've been talking about.
Yeah, that's huge as much as us activists and advocates and patients can give all kinds of anecdotal evidence to how it works and what it does, without the actual studies there, you can't get the entire medical community on board and this day will open up all of those studies to allow us to really track down the benefits, the uses, how it can be used, what it can be used for. And a friend of mine here in the north actually has pushed hard enough that she's getting a study done for a very specific, rare autoimmune eye disorder that she has, and she's pushed hard enough that they're doing a study with relation to this disorder in cannabis. So I really got to give her a high five for that. She's pushing it through.
That's amazing, and her cannabis use for her has helped her a great deal. Then.
Absolutely, yeah. It's allowed her to get off the medications and live normal life and be able to function properly. Yeah.
That's incredible. And you hear stories about that. You hear stories like that all the time. Like you said, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, but now we're actually going to find some scientific. It's going to have some scientific merit behind it. Because, even, Scott, you mentioned this earlier, even there's a lot of propaganda, anti-cannabis propaganda, but then there's a lot of pro-cannabis propaganda, a lot of outlandish claims as to what cannabis can do.
Correct.
So it'll be nice to kind of blow some of that out of the water as well, because it's not a magical cure-all for everything, but it does definitely help a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the online store is up. The physical store is open today. Is that right?
Yes, the physical store is open. We'll be open at 11, I believe.
At 11. All right, at the Uptown Liquor Store.
Apparently, there's been a car sitting out there for hours already.
Yeah.
Really?
Got there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I tell you, I hope to be the first one in line. That's my goal today, to be the first one in Yellowknife to buy legal cannabis.
Well,
so.
we're hoping to be down there as well. Maybe hopefully catch some audio. This is the thing, right? Even the story that Ollie posted this morning, we got a quote from somebody saying that there's only a couple, when they were talking about the online store.
Right.
So this person went on just after midnight and said, there's only a couple strains there, but it's some real top end ish, and it's gonna mess with the rookies. But didn't want to be named.
Right.
It still has that kind of stigma. So we're hoping there's some people down there that might you'd be willing to talk to us and maybe willing to talk to us on the record.
Right.
And I know that you might be one of them.
I think I might be. I think I might be.
Wonderful. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got an idea of what they've got in store for us there. And like we said, the online store is up and running. You can order online as well. If you still wish to remain anonymous, which is no problem.
Right.
Really, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because people do know that the stigma is still there. And I know a lot of workplaces do have some very strict rules. And some apartments are stretching beyond their own whatever. Their hubris is a bit much.
Yes.
What are you going to do about that? But
Yeah.
what does the online store have in store for us?
The
Pardon me, the physical store.
The physical store.
Yeah.
So they looks like they're going to have some two really decent strains, Zombie Kush and Banana Split.
Very nice.
So one's an indica, one's a sativa, which
Yeah.
is very nice. They're also going to have a select set of pre-rolled joints that are along the medicinal lines, like some CBD varieties, some lower level 1-to-1s, which will be for those people who really they're like, wow. I think I'm actually going to try it now because it's legal. Those are, and that's, So they seem to have a good variety for opening up.
That's wonderful. I mean, because you don't want a really high THC content if you're just starting to smoke, starting to smoke or partake.
Exactly.
But the CBD ones, those are always very interesting because some people don't want the psychoactive reaction, but they just want that reduced inflammation, a little bit of reduction in anxiety and things like this.
Correct.
So if there's a good selection of that's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, I was really excited to see that on the list because that allows for people. That was the biggest fear, I think, in legalizing is that all of a sudden people are going to be ingesting and smoking this really intense weed, and everyone's going to be confused and wandering around the streets, bumping into walls.
Much like that National Post cartoon. Did you see that one? Did you see the National Post cartoon? So they published this cartoon. It's like three people smoking a joint. And they're speaking gibberish. It's just like, and they're all like tweaked out. And it's like, they're not smoking meth.
Right.
And someone put underneath it is like, has anyone at the National Post ever smoked cannabis? Have any of them been offered it?
Right.
It was an odd one, but I mean that's kind of what. But I mean, for rookies, for people who are out there, they do need to know,
Absolutely.
right? They do need to do some research, and if there's going to be people down there that are going to be like, you've never smoked before, these are not for you. This one is for you. Is that right? Like, and there's going to be some people down there.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. But we have to see. I mean, they seem nice and ready, so
Good.
I'm hoping. And if there isn't that backup there, then hopefully I'm going to be
reach out to you
in the corner, waving and greeting. I'm literally hoping to just hang around the store for a while after opening and just kind of say hi to everyone.
Yeah, you don't want that, son. You don't want that.
No.
This is the one for
Try
you.
this one over here.
Kim, I have kind of a two-part question for you. So most people would recognize your name. In years past, you've led the 420 rallies here in Yellowknife. So you are, without doubt, I would say the most well-known public cannabis activist and advocate here in Yellowknife. So first of all, now that prohibition of cannabis is over, it's legalized. Is there still going to be a 420 rally because it was a protest? Is there a need for that protest anymore? And second part, where do we go from here? Because surely there is a will to further the education of what we're dealing with. We don't really want this to be just a equating it to alcohol, because there are medicinal properties and purposes for cannabis, and we all know that. Now that's still in question from some people, but it's the recreational side that is the new thing that's coming in now. So basically, is there still a need for a 420 rally, and what is the next step for cannabis advocacy?
Okay. So yes, I think there's definitely still a need for the 420 rallies. It's been years and years of the rallies as a gathering point for protest. And the next 420 is our celebration, right? I think the next 420 would be the biggest 420 that there has ever been.
Declaring victory.
Right?
Yes.
We won. I saw an activist friend of mine, she posted this morning, weed has won. I was like, that is perfect. It has. And the next 420, in previous years, I've had trouble getting people involved because they're like, ooh, well, I actually, I have a pretty professional job, and you know, I don't really think I can, you know, perform my artistry there at the rally, even though I support your cause. And so now I really think that could be a turnaround. The 420 could really become a great celebration of the end of prohibition. The first 420 that's legal.
You're going to see a lot of previously silent advocates come out of the woodwork.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People who might have been cheering me on at home, maybe they'll actually come out and join me. They may not smoke in public, that's fine, but maybe they'll feel comfortable enough to even step out into the group.
Right.
We say that weed is one. I mean, the government is one, too. I mean, there's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue over the next 10 years. Probably could be into the billions. I mean, we're seeing examples of that, say, in Colorado. They legalized, pardon me, and they've seen billions of dollars in the first 3 years of legalization in tax revenue. So, I mean, there is a hope that this will help, you know, fill the coffers a little bit as well. And, I mean, how do you see that happen? Do you see that being a huge success here in the NWG?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as the studies and stats have already shown, the cannabis consumption in the NWT is well above normal average. Apparently. So I really
got to cope with the winter.
Right, exactly. So I definitely see it as being a successful venture for the government. And of course, it had to come out this way. You know, we're coming out of the darkness of prohibition into the light of the truth, I like to say, you know. And this is our first step forward. No, it's not perfect. There'll be challenges. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be, that doesn't seem right. That seems a little weird. But it doesn't matter.
No.
It will come. Yeah. All those pieces will come together. We have made a step. This is monumental. Like, we are the first developed, I hate to use that term, nation, you know, the G7, the first of those to legalize it. We're pushing international boundaries. As a country, we're making ripples around the planet Earth because we've legalized a plant.
Yes.
I don't know what to say after that.
Progressive. It's very progressive. So
really kind of puts it into the absurdness.
Absolutely, and that's always been the thing. When you take it to its very base, it's a plant that grows naturally. That's illegal, and it's not particularly harmful.
Like hemlock is poisonous.
Yes,
but anyone can grow that. And
you can grow hemlock?
You know, I don't know.
Oh, man. Halloween's going to be baller this year.
Only 4 plants.
Oh, only 4 plants of hemlock?
Oh,
oh, man. Socrates won't know what hit him. Well, Kim, thank you so much for coming in. Your passion for this is infectious. It really is. Like, you've got this huge smile on your face. Addictive. Easy. Habit forming. So thank you so much for coming in. It's been a joy to have you. But please keep in touch as this develops, as the months kind of roll by. I mean, it kind of just becomes mainstream. I mean, cannabis has been mainstream for quite some time, but now it's mainstream. So we're going to see how this develops. Obviously, edibles are still kind of up for grabs there. Online shopping is still another sticking point. So this is going to be a developing story over the next little while. So please come back and chat with us tomorrow, okay?
I would be honored to be back. Enjoy your day, guys, and happy Legal Cannabis Day.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca. Does that say .ca?